Hello everyone, my name is Karen McLaren and I will be doing a presentation over benefits and challenges of technology in high schools. The purpose of this study is to document the perceptions of school leaders pertaining to the benefits and challenges of technology in high schools. This study was done in Prince Edward Island in Canada. For this particular research, we're going to ask the questions, what and who? A qualitative study was done for this research, and it consisted of 11 educational leaders. They were principals, vice principals, and department heads. When they planned and conducted and analyzed this qualitative study, they looked at using a constructive approach to the research. One interesting thing that I found very enlightening, being a teacher in the 21st century, I understand that technology is ever growing, but the article talked about how fast of a pace it was growing, and I wanted to bring that to your attention. It says, due to society's fast-paced adoption of technology, information accessible throughout the world is doubling every 2 years. And Presky stated that the current generation of young leaders will live in a future where technology will be over 1 trillion times more powerful and influential than it is today. So that really just blows my mind, be it that technology is ever changing and being integrated into the classrooms at a fast pace. I can't imagine at a pace of 1 trillion times more powerful than what we have today. So I really thought that was really interesting and wanted to share that with you. As educators, we all have vital roles and a lot of responsibility. And I really like the way that this research brought out the core responsibility of any teacher. It stated that the core responsibility of any teacher is to ensure that students possess the knowledge and abilities needed to be productive, involved citizens who can think critically about the world and their place in it, both now and in the future. As teachers, we do have a responsibility to keep our children and students up to date on the latest technology. So the article did bring out that teachers have a responsibility to incorporate the digital technology into the modern day classrooms. Cell phones were banned in schools in 2007, but now we see a rise with technology being integrated into the classrooms. And in this study, we've seen that the majority of high school students had some kind of cell phone that they were able to use. There has been an unusual rise in the number of students that use their cell phones. We even have children as young as kindergartners bringing cell phones to school in our school district. So it doesn't matter the age. Children will have access to a cell phone one way or another. But in this study, we see that students were able to use their cell phones in class-related activities, even though the cell phones were banned back in 2007. The Canadians feel like if it is something that is class-related or an activity that could help a student, they are able to use their cell phones. Some examples of ways that a cell phone can help a student would be possibly recording directions or notes that they have in class, recording a presentation, and being able to respond to quizzes or classroom polls if they have access to the internet. In this study, we see that children were motivated when they used the iPads and the smartboards in social media. One particular thing that stood out to me, being a special education teacher, was the touchscreen iPad and the tablets that some students used were ideal for children with limited fine motor skills. We allow children with disabilities in our schools to use iPads and tablets now. It does help them to stay on task and to stay at the same pace as the other students. Another thing that was talked about was downloading specific programs or educational applications on these touchscreen devices, which helps to improve communication and promote independence. Once again, I have seen this personally in my own classroom as far as children being motivated and feeling independent when they're able to use an application and to learn at the same rate as their typical peers. With the increase of technology in the classrooms or in everyday life, we revert to what students are known to have. And we see that students see technology as a way of life because they've always had it. Their generation has always had a cell phone or have access to some kind of technology. But when we talk about technology and the increase in it with education, we have to look at the mentorship as it relates to their learning related situations. We have reverse or reciprocal mentorship, and this is where a younger individual or teacher mentors and or offers advice to more experienced individuals. And it is a process which in turn assists both parties because the majority of current teachers are digital immigrants. Okay, it is imperative that we as educators call upon the leadership, knowledge, and reverse mentorship of the net generation. That is the people that witnessed the Genesis era, or the internet, if you will. With any new thing, there's always going to be some challenges or obstacles. Well, in this study, there was some challenges that were mentioned that I'd like to go over with you. The study found that the safety and privacy of individuals was challenged. They found that technology is the changing literacy for their students' social skills, lifestyle transformations, and what I mean by that, children are not physically active like they once were. The technology today is affecting the attention span and cognitive abilities of our young learners. And technology can be very addicting, and that addiction is taking students away from other priorities. The participants perceived that there were an array of benefits and challenges associated with incorporating technology into their classrooms. There were two overarching themes that encompass the participants' perceptions of the benefits of technology in the classroom. They were the use of reverse mentorship and increased student motivation during the learning process. I found that it was unique that all of the participants believed that students brought much technology experience into their classroom. So not only were they trying to teach the students, but they were also learning at the same time. And many of the participants believe that incorporating technology into the learning process enhanced the active learning and motivation of the students. Some disadvantages that were noted in this research were as follows: inappropriate texting, policy and lack of policy participants. They described how both the implementation of some policies and the lack of other policies were roadblocks toward enriching the student learning via technology, and the erosion of traditional literacy and social skills. And one of the ones that I found to be alarming was the increased workload regarding communication with parents. As we see in our everyday experiences with our students, we know that technology is ever growing and ever changing. Well, I think that this research said it well when it said the need for the impact of digital literacy and education cannot be downplayed. High school students who are not sufficiently skilled to meet the digital requirements of tomorrow's job market will face serious consequences in the future. And the social well-being and economic prosperity of local, national, and international communities will most likely be less than ideal. And I see this in the county in which I live because we live in a very rural area. technology is not always made possible for our seniors going out into the workplace. They've not experienced the new technologies, or they've not even been briefed on how to apply the new technology to their everyday skills. So for me, this is a serious issue that I feel like our county needs to think about. This study promotes the idea that current students must be provided with a digital literacy that will help achieve their personal and professional adult goals.